Hello, hi family. Today is Monday, 7:55 p.m., September the 4th in 2017. Okay, what I want to talk about is emergencies and understanding that we need to prepare right now for an emergency as black people. Everything I'm saying is directed to other black people. I'm black and I'm directing all my comments to them. Okay, first off, after the Houston incident and the stuff that went on with Katrina and Rita, oh, excuse me, we've had plenty of time to realize that we're not going to be the first people they rescue. That's the reality in front of us. From what I understand, that black people in Houston, were having trouble getting rescued because the rescuers weren't going to them first. Although I did see a lot of black people rescuing folks, but they weren't rescuing black people. I'm talking about guardsmen and policemen and emergency workers. They were in white neighborhoods. I didn't see a lot of people rescuing black folks. And the black folks that finally did make it to the shelters or whatever, saying that they had been waving their flags and waiting and hoping and praying on their roofs, and waiting and trying to get somebody to come to them. And some of them even had to fend for themselves and get to safety on their own. And then after they had got out of the biggest hurdles, people were nearby that could help them the rest of the way. So that means that despite it being people's job to help everybody, and despite it being what should be done as nice people helping each other, that's not what's happening. So it's time for us to get it through our head that we can't rely on other folks to help us appropriately. And we should have already had it through our head at some point before. But right now, that should be our wake up call. It should be clear to everybody that the reality that other folks might have with people coming to the aid doesn't apply to us. So we can't keep going by what should be and could be and ought to be and supposed to be. We got to deal with what is. And that is that we're not easy, that we're not priority at getting rescued or helped. With that in mind, we got to prepare. We're just now coming off of summer and the hurricane season, so we have about a whole year to prepare for next year. But now we're coming up on winter. There's no telling what'll happen. That's what emergencies mean. That we don't know what's going to happen, but you prepared for an unforeseen circumstance as best you could because you looked at the patterns in front of you and you knew that you don't have control of things, so the most you can do is prepare. So like wintertime, get your little tires fixed, look at your car, look at the roads around you, get your little snow things, snow stuff prepared, get you some water so that in case the power goes out or the water pipes freeze, you got some backup. All those sort of things to do with wintertime. Get some blankets and quilts in case the heating goes out or the electricity goes off. Charge up your computer and your laptop or whatever, your batteries for your phone and things like that. Get a what does they call it, that a regular radio that can use antenna bands instead of the internet. Okay, so this is the time to get ready for that because that's what you do for an emergency. As I watched on that Houston thing on TV, there were people that had boats, but they were their own private boats. And they had prepared, they might have been sports fishermen and things like that, but they still had their own boats, little boats. I looked on Amazon and I saw that boats cost, little plastic raft like boats, cost about $100, maybe 150, maybe, and you can and on up. But that's the cost of a nice pair of pants. Sacrifice that nice pair of pants and have something for your family. That's less than a pair of fancy shoes. Way less than a pair of way less than purses. So just change your priorities and have yourself something sitting there so you can have something to go. Because I hate seeing my folks fussing about nobody coming to get them, even though indeed they were supposed to come and get them, but they didn't. So there are things we can do to prepare to look out for ourselves. I don't want to have to look out for myself, heaven knows, but I look at the reality in front of me and see I might not be getting help at the extent that I need. So I have to be self reliant and look out for myself. So some of the things we can do between now and next year hurricane season is to go ahead and get yourself a little inflatable boat with probably electric or a hand pump if you have to use an electric or a hand pump. Okay, and just have it sitting on the shelf. Even if you live in a small place, I live in a small place, but I'm gonna make room to stick my little boat on the shelf. What I did was go ahead and order it. So and I don't know much about boats, but I want to at least try to do what I can to help myself in case something happens. And mind you, I live on a hill and I can't see foresee a scenario where I would have to use a boat because my plan A in case a hurricane comes, a big one, is to evacuate. But I live in an area that's going to be real hard to evacuate. I live in the DC metro area, and they can't even handle traffic on a regular day. And heaven knows it's bad when it rains. I stay in the house because traffic is so bad when it rains. They barely able to handle regular traffic on a sunny day. So evacuating in an emergency is almost, I imagine, would be nearly impossible. I've lived during the time when people were stuck on the road, on the highway, trying to get from one place to the next for about 18 hours, up on the beltway, stuck in traffic, running out of gas because they're trying to heat up their family, but they couldn't get home because of the traffic. And that was a snowstorm. So it's easy to imagine not being able to evacuate in this area. So I would be in a place where I had to either ride it out or perish. So even though I can't imagine a personal scenario where I might need a boat, I don't know what I might need. So I ordered me a little stupid boat because I also know this, as soon as demand increases for these kind of things, prices go up. So I went on and ordered it now instead of waiting until next year. But between now and next year, next hurricane season, you got a chance to prepare for before next hurricane season hits. Among the things that I would suggest that you get as a family would be something to hold yourself and your immediate family in. And that's for every household that's part of your family, like your sons and daughters who live, down the street or across town. Every household should have some kind of inflatable device that they can get in and go and ride up the road. Those people in Texas didn't know they were going to open up those levees, I mean, those floodgates, and flood out that area to protect the levees. They didn't know, and they didn't have no way of knowing because weren't able to get communication because the communication and power was out. So they didn't have no real way of knowing. The next thing you know, it had flooded. I think pretty high in about 8 minutes. They had about 8 minutes, and then suddenly people, are up on their second floor running from water, and then even having to crawl up on the roof of where they live at. So it happens pretty fast, and they didn't have time to evacuate or even address it, and they didn't know that they were going to do that. That's a very unusual thing to do, but of course they had to save the city. But it was bad, and that's what an emergency is, because you didn't prepare. You don't know what's happening, didn't know what was going to happen. So among those things you can do to get prepared is get yourself something that'll float and take care of you and your family. I'd hate for you to be the family that didn't prepare as you watch your neighbors float by, with their boats full of their family, and you're trying to figure out what to do with your 3-month old as your children looking at you, wondering why you're not smart enough to get what you need as you look at people around you. And that's what self-reliance means. Rely on yourself. I know that people think in terms of group responsibility and stop being individualistic. But with group responsibility, that implies that every member of the group is pulling their own weight. And you can't be dead weight to the group. And there's nobody who's going to toss out somebody important to them just to take somebody important to you when you didn't spend your time preparing. And even if you did, they're not going to toss out their child or they won't even toss out their family pet. They'll pretend like they don't even see you standing over there with your kids. And I don't want you in the position where you trying to, and it's not their responsibility to take care of you and your kids. And I don't want you in a position trying to get somebody's attention when you had a chance to take care of yourself. I remember looking at a video some years ago where this man he's a black man and he's showing his black friends all of the stuff he's got stacked up, prepared for an emergency, right? He's showing two friends and they laugh and say, ha ha, ha, I know where I'm going to come at if there's an emergency. You know, but that was that friend's first instinct, is to look at leaning on his other friend when there's an emergency. And that's not the appropriate first instinct. The appropriate first instinct should have been, wow, you did a good job preparing. I can take some pointers from you and go prepare my own. Because that's when you do prepare, is when there's not an emergency. When there's no emergency is when you prepare for the emergency. Because during the emergency it's too late. So I forgot what the friend's response was, but I know what mine would have been something like, yeah, and I'll be sitting on the hill with a gun keeping everybody away. Because it's too late to prepare. And then I would give them a card and some notes and something like that and tell them what to go get and get themselves ready. And I'm not a selfish person, but when I see you having the opportunity to fix things for yourself, I get mad at you when you don't. Because it's inappropriate to come lean on your friends and family and be dead weight on them, talking about what the group ought to be doing when you ain't even done yourself. You ain't got time to worry about what the group doing. You need to be dealing with the things yourself. And that's all of us. That's why I went on and bought the little stupid boat now. And I'm only talking about $100 or so. With me, $20 mean a lot. But I felt like if I sacrifice $100 now and get this boat, I won't be trying to pay the extra for it when it gets in higher demand, because it'll be like more money, 25, 35, $45 more. So I'm gonna bite the bullet and get it now. And mind you, like I said, I live on a hill. I don't imagine a scenario where I would actually need a boat, but it gonna sit on the shelf and wait because it eases my mind a bit. And I don't know what's gonna happen. That's the nature of an emergency. There are scenarios you can't imagine. So start stocking up. Get yourself some water, because the sewage is gonna go bad. And that's where I live at does flood in this area. Not where I live at immediately, but um, there's water and tributaries all around me. I live in the DC area in Maryland, and we're a few miles from the ocean, but a hurricane or two has passed through this way or nearby. And they have had very, very high waters. I do live on a hill, but anything can happen. So just something to prepare for. So get yourself bottled waters. I'm going to start rotating out, little cases of bottled water, because it expires after so much. So you can just rotate them out if you buy bottled water, and just rotate them out, and so you can always keep it new and fresh. Among the things I'm gonna do is pack up an extra blanket in case I need it. Just just a blanket, and sit it on the shelf. And even if there was an emergency and I needed to save some things that were precious to me, irreplaceable, like photo albums and stuff like that, I'm gonna put them in a plastic container, and then put the container in a garbage bag and tie it off so that water won't get in it, even if the place I live at floods. Have a plan like that, or something like that, so it's airtight for your precious things that you can't take with you, because you're not going to have a lot of time to grab a lot of stuff. People around here always that I where I live at always talk about having a go bag. That is a bag already prepackaged with emergency items that you can grab on your way out the door and get running. Okay, so I'm gonna get that put together. Just a few emergency items. Have your cards nearby so that you can immediately put them somewhere. Back up your computer things, and just take the hard disk with you instead of trying to put a big old computer in a boat or a car. And then wrap up your computer in plastic and tie off your plastic bag, making it airtight. Because you can do that with your precious items, and those plastic bags are pretty sturdy if you get good ones. But yeah, and then have food stuffs and can. And if you're going to be leaving, then have like dried meat, beef jerky, and that sort of thing, so you can have food to feed the kids, because nobody is responsible for feeding your kids but you. So don't wait till you get among friends and neighbors, having them looking at other people eating with big eyes when you should have been feeding the kids yourself. And that it takes a village stuff does work, but that presumes that every village member is pulling their own weight, and then the sum could be more than a whole, or however that phrase goes. You're more than the sum of your parts. Yeah, you one of the parts. And if everybody gets together, then you can have more. But everybody's got to pull their own weight. So that's enough about that. You know to prepare, and it's time, and you got a year to do it. And I'm going to finish preparing my stuff during this year too. But right now, winter is coming up, and that brings its own set of problems. When power goes out, you got to have a backup plan. I would start grabbing these little, when I see them on sale, those Brooklyn lights and these pop-up lights and these portable light things that are on batteries. You can get a few of those, I would suggest. And I'm going to keep batteries nearby. I have had a old radio cassette player that's battery operated, so I'm gonna keep that around. Also, those clock radios that have batteries that go in them, those are made for things like that. So have those nearby so you can at least have a radio going so you can hear emergency broadcast. Okay? And there are certain canned goods and dry goods that you can have stored away so you can have things to feed your family when you need food. You can't carry a lot of heavy canned goods with you in a backpack, but you can carry dried foods, like trail mix and energy bars and water. And that'll take care of your kids just to get you somewhere safe. You're gonna have you gotta have your diapers with you. You're gonna have, depending on how far you gotta go, you need to bring some toilet paper and baby wipes and antibacterial wipes and garbage bags. None of this stuff that I'm naming is particularly heavy or cumbersome, but you'll need it when you need it, okay? Because you have to pull over and go to the bathroom or change the diapers and things like that. And so this is your opportunity to prepare when nothing else is going on. Now, during this Texas thing, there were people to me, $20 means a lot. And there were people saying things like the people in Texas, the black people in Texas weren't getting picked up at all. And at one point, I wanted to donate, but I didn't know who to donate to, and I didn't trust anybody. I didn't trust anybody's GoFundMe because they weren't names that I was familiar with. And every time I tried to Google something to donate, most of the time I saw something saying, "Be careful who you donate to," and because I was gonna donate immediately during one broadcast. Wasn't gonna be a lot of money. It was gonna be $20, and for me, $20 means a lot. So I was going to donate $20. To some people like cigarettes with $20, but for me, that's a meal or two. But I was going to sacrifice it. But the website that I was trying to sacrifice it to, based on a video I was watching of somebody whose work that I like and trust, it was not working well. So I said, okay, something's wrong with this. This is the spirit's trying to guide me away from here. And it probably could have been a legitimate, good website and all of that, but it kept going wrong. It kept everything kept messing up. And I said, okay, I'll wait till in the morning and see if there's any more information. And it wasn't any more information, and my computer still wouldn't put through this donation I was trying to give. And that's when I stopped and said, okay, the spirits are trying to tell me something. So I stopped trying to donate to them, and then I looked around for other places and other people, and there was nobody I trust. So on this one, this part, I would like to have people that I do trust get ready to be the liaison if they would. And these are the people I would trust donating money to. Anything that Tariq Nasheed is involved in, I would donate to him. His Indiegogo or his movies. I've seen him raise $250,000 in like a month or whatever the time frame he wanted. This money, he got it like that. But the reason why I trust him is because he comes through. You got something you can take and put in your hand. He says you donate this, this is what you get, and that is what you get. So I would trust him with them, with my money. I have trusted him with my money, and he has come through. He's done that time and time again. So if I would love for him to step up and be the liaison and this kind of thing. Uh, the emergency fund. He's donated to Haiti. People send him money for Haiti. He took things down to Haiti. You get whenever you donate or money comes in his hand, he has built a trust, and you know that you're going to get something back, or it's going to be used for precisely what he said it was going to be used for. His movies, this DVD, if you donate the money according to whatever this list of incentives are, you get back what he said you're going to get. You got something in your hand, and that makes you more than credible. There are some people who have been begging for money for years, but nothing is in nobody's hand after we give it. So that's going to be kind of hard, and they're struggling getting things. But if you donate $20 or whatever it is for the cost of a video, and you get a video after your donation and it's in your hand, he has come through. Your obligations are met. The exchange is satisfactory. So he can raise money because he's already built that trust, because he's shown he's trustworthy. So I would love for him to be the liaison for emergency things for black people. Like any emergency in the country, he can raise the money and go make the purchases, or have somebody on the team make the purchases, or have somebody who's helping black people make the purchases or whatever is needed. I would love for him to have a website that I could find saying donate here, and this is what, and we're gonna funnel the money here or there or whatever. So I trust him. Other person I trust who probably won't do it, but I trust young Pharaoh. He, I've seen him do work, and I believe he's righteous. And he said, I need money for X, and you donate it, and he used that money for X. And it was a personal use, but he said that's what he wanted to use it for. And so I like you, Tariq and Tariq Nasheed and young Pharaoh. I also wouldn't mind if this other person, I can't pronounce the name, but it's Q Butter. He's a teacher out of New York, or an educator, and I see what he does with any donation he gets. He funnels it right back, and he's all about that work, and he's all about tangible things being done. So if he wanted to be an emergency liaison to help people in the Northeast area, I would donate to him. Anybody else, right now I don't know anything about them or enough to trust them, so I would have to see. But those three, I would donate to something if they had an emergency and they were going to be the liaison. So people who have got good, trustworthy credentials, let us know who you are so we can have a place to funnel money that's readily available for use as we need it, depending on where in the country is needed at, because we need to take time to prepare for that too. Because people do want to donate $5 here, $3 there, $15 wherever, but we might not have any trustworthy source to take it for us. And yeah, so I want that too. Want some place for that money to go, and then they can funnel it to where it's needed to buy the things that are needed on the ground. So this is what we get. That's our project for this winter, is to try to get ourselves together and get ready. If you got like a preparation for winter, if you got tires that aren't very good, and trust me, bad tires in winter is bad, very, very, very bad. Go ahead and get some snow chains. Go ahead and set aside some money to get yourself a good set of tires. Get your car checked out with the oil and all of that stuff. You know what your car needs. Get ready with your blankets and quilts and things like that, so that in case the power goes out in the winter, you've got a way to stay warm. Even if you got to, wear them big old snowsuits and things like that, get your extra water so that you can have it sitting on the shelf and people can drink. Do all those things that are recommended for an emergency. And the way you pay for it is to shift your priorities. The $300 purse that you would have got, funnel it into your emergency fund. Funnel it into, for example, if you live in an apartment, funnel that into apartment insurance. That'll pay the cost of your belongings. Things like your fancy high ticket items, if you haven't got apartment insurance and some kind of tragedy happens, you're going to lose that anyway. So pay that extra $100 or $200. It's apartment insurance compared isn't extremely high compared to luxury items. Just find out and work out a good deal. I think it's like $150 a month, depending on who you go with and what's covered. But there's some things that are replaceable and some things that are replaceable, and you're going to be working that out with the insurance company. But yeah, get some apartment insurance. Check out clothes that you want to grab to go if y'all need to go and that kind of stuff. This is what you do to get prepared in the winter. I'm not sure about what are those gasoline heaters or kerosene heaters, because I'm not sure they're safe, but you can get some nice warm clothes and things like that, or one of those vests with many pockets so that it can stay, so that you can keep your emergency items close to you. Like your ID cards, insurance card, a credit card, or a debit card, those kind of things, or even a medical card. Keeping all of that near you. There's some things that we need to do to prepare ourselves, and so we all need to get on it. And this is our wake up call. That's all I had on this one. Thank you for listening to me. Bye bye.